What's up YouTube, Tunde here, and in this video we're going to be doing an in-depth skill retouching and color grading for this image right here. So at the end of this video I'm going to be showing you how to save your image so that you can get that sharp looking image when you upload it to Facebook and Instagram. So this is the image originally, and this is where we are heading to. So I'm going to show you guys how I retouched this image right here to make it look like this one right here, everything I did from start to finish. And I'll be using Capture One software to process this raw file, and if you don't have the Capture One, you can use Lightroom or you can use Camera Raw to process your raw file. So if you're using Capture One, you can follow along with these steps. So the first thing I'm going to do for this image, I'm just going to come to my exposure tab right here and just bring down my highlights a little bit and open up my shadows a little bit, because I feel the image was looking too dark. So I'm just going to open up my shadows a little bit like this to add a little bit of brightness to the image. So let's quickly see our before and after of what we just did. You can come here, click on your before. So this is the before and this is the after of what we just did. So the next thing I'm going to do right now, I'm just going to bring up my whites like this and bring down my blacks like this, and I'll come to my levels adjustment right here. So this is my levels. I just click on it and just push my highlights inside. So this sliders right here is my highlight, so I'll just push it inside a little bit like this to add more brightness to the image, and push the shadows inside the base to add contrast to the image. So you can also do the same thing if you are using Lightroom or if you are using Camera Raw. So let's see our before and after. These are before and these are after. So next thing I'm going to do for this image, I want to face my skin tone to make the skin tone look even, and to do that I'll come to my layer right here and create a new fade layer like this, and come to my color tab right here and just come to my skin tone. So if you slide all the way down, you come to your skin tone, so click on skin tone and pick your color picker tool. So once I click on my color picker tool, I'm going to select any part of the skin which I want the other skin to look like. So I'm just going to select this part right here and click on it, and Capture One will automatically select those colors for me. So you can see yellows are selected. So if I just move my sliders, you can see it will be affecting the yellows as well, which we don't want. So to do that, I'm just going to pick it again and just reduce my smoothness like this and take it away from the yellows here like this, because I don't want it to affect the yellows. And to see the colors that are selected and the ones that are not selected, just click on this view selected color range, and those parts that are black and white are not selected, while those parts that are colored are the parts that are selected. So you can just move your sliders up to select the part of the skin which you want selected. So right now I want the skin to be selected, so I think I have the skin selected. So I'm just going to turn this one off and just move my saturation slider all the way down a little bit like this, because I want that melanin feel, and just bring my hue for my uniformity up, bring my saturation to my uniformity up, and I think I'll just increase my saturation a little bit like this. Okay, and just let me play with the hue and see. Okay, I think I'm just going to bring my hue up a little bit. I think 1 is okay. So let's see before and after, before and after. And like this, I feel it's too much, so I'm just going to come to my opacity up here and just reduce the opacity. So next thing I'm going to do right now, I'm just going to open this image in Photoshop. And to do that, I'll just come to this image right here, right click on it like this and click on edit with Photoshop. If you can't find your Photoshop right here, click on browse and just look for Photoshop inside your local disk right here. So click on Photoshop and click on open, and this image will automatically open in Photoshop. So if you have a faster system, you can use 16 bits, but my system is not so fast, so I'm going to be using 8 bits for this image. So I'll just click on 8 bits and just leave the settings on default like this and click on edit variant, and this image will automatically open in Photoshop. Okay, now that we have our image open in Photoshop, the next thing I'm going to do right now, I'm just going to duplicate my layer by clicking on Ctrl J to duplicate my layer, and I want to remove the blemishes from this image. As you can see, this image doesn't have a lot of blemishes, so I just come to my toolbar and click on my spot healing brush tool right here, this last one right here, click on it and just increase my brush size by clicking on the square bracket key to increase and decrease your brush size, and make sure your content aware and make sure sample all layer is checked. So just paint over the blemishes like that, So just if you see any blemishes, just paint over it. You can see this image is looking really good, doesn't have a lot of blemishes. So shout out to the photographer. His name is Nuephotography, and I'll be leaving his name in the description below. So he did an amazing job with this image. So you can see I'm just painting the blemishes out of the image like that. So just take your time to take out the blemishes if your image has a lot of blemishes. But as you can see, this model skin is almost spotless. There is no blemishes on this image. Okay, so after I remove the blemishes from this image, the next I'm going to do right now, I'm just going to do micro dodge and burn for this image. So to do your micro dodge and burn, all you have to do is create a curves adjustment layer, and I'm just going to show you how to do that right now. So you come to your adjustment layer, you click on curves, and just bring this part all the way down like this, and invert your mask. And I can rename this one burn. I'll just rename it burn, and I'll come to my curves adjustment layer again, create another curves adjustment layer, and I'll just take this part up like this, and I'll invert it by clicking on Ctrl I to invert, and I'll name this one dodge like that. So after that, I'm just going to group them. So by clicking on this first one and hold Ctrl, click on the burn, and click on Ctrl G to group. Once I group them, I'll just create a white layer mask on top like this. So next thing I'm going to do right now, I want to create a visual aid to enable me see, so I can see where to dodge and where to burn better. And to do that, all you have to do is create a new empty layer like this, and you come to your edit up here, and you come to your fill, and you click on 50% gray like this, and make sure your mode is on normal, opacity is 100, and this preserve transparency is not checked, and click on OK. So after that, you come to your blend mode right here, and just change your blend mode to color. Then the next thing you are going to do, you come to your adjustment layer again, or if you can't find your adjustment layer up here, you come down here, click on your levels adjustment layer, and just push your midtones towards the highlight side a little bit to make it dark a little like this. Okay, I think I like it like this, and I'm just going to group them. Come here and just group it. So if I turn this one off, you can see I have my colored. If I turn it on, I have my black and white like this. And what I want to do right now with my micro dodge and burn, I just want to shape the light that falls on the model skin. That means I want to make the skin look even. So I'm going to be dodging the dark parts, and I'm going to be burning the bright part of the image to make it look good. So let me quickly show you an example. Let me just create a new empty layer and pick my normal brush tool. Like I said, this is an in-depth tutorial, so I'm just going to be explaining everything you need to know when retouching a beauty headshot like this. And also, if you've learned it from this video so far, make sure to hit on that like button so that more people can see this video and learn from this video as well. So I just want to show you what I want to do right now. You can see this dark place right here, this dark place right here. This dark place right here, I just want to make it look even. So I'm just going to dodge it to make it look like these other places, that are close by right here. So let me quickly show you what I want to do right now. So I'm just going to come to my dodge, pick my normal brush tool, and make sure your flow is set to 1%, and just click on your brush settings, and make sure this place is like this. If yours, let me quickly show you something. If yours is if the edge of your brush here is sharp, it's not going to make your image look good. So just come to your brush settings up here, click on it, and if your edges of your brush is sharp, just click on your shape dynamics and just come to this maximum diameter and just bring it all the way up to 100, and you are good to go. So just close that, and I'm just going to paint on this bright part with my white brush. So make sure your white brush is selected. If here is set to black, make sure you change it to white by clicking on the S key or your keyboard, or click on this icon right here to switch between white and black. And if you have other colors right here, just click on this white and black icon to bring it to default white and black. So with that being said, I'm just going to paint on these dark places right here. So let me show you what I'm doing. So I'm painting on these dark places right here. Let me bring that back on so you can see what I'm doing. So I'm painting on this part right here, so you can see the difference of what I just did. You see how micro dodge and bond makes your image looks much more better. And mind you, I'm going to be touching this image with micro dodge and bond and focus separation to save our time. So let me quickly show you what I just did. So you can see these are before. You can see how dark this part of the image is, and these are after, before and after, before and after, and it has made that place look smooth. So that's what I'm going to be doing for the whole of this image. I'm just going to make the dark part a little bit brighter and the bright part a little bit darker to make the image look even. So that's what micro dodge and bond is all about. And I'll come here like this part right here as well. So I'm just going to explain this thing in details. So this video is going to be a bit longer, but just stay to the end and you're going to learn a lot from this video right here. So let me quickly show you another thing I want to do. I want to make this place right here, I want to make this part right here look even as well. So I'll just go to my dodge again, pick my normal brush tool, make sure my flow is set to 1%, and make sure you're using a soft round brush. Make sure your smoothie is set to 10 and your opacity is set to 100. And I'm just going to paint on this part right here because I feel they are too dark. That's why I use my visual aid so that I can see where are dark and where are bright, like that. Okay, so let me quickly show you the before and after of what we just did. So these are before. You can see how dark this part is, and these are after, before and after. So that's what I'm going to be doing for the whole of the image. I'm just going to be dodging, which is brightening the part that are dark, and burning, which is darkening the bright part of the image, just to make the image look even. So this part right here is going to take a little bit of time. So when you're using micro dodge and bond to retouch, make sure you have the patience to do it. And I have a video about how to use micro dodge and bond. If you want to learn in details on how to use micro dodge and bond to retouch your image, I have a video for that, and I'll be leaving a link to that video in the description below. Okay guys, I'm done with that. Let's quickly see our before and after. These are before and these are after. These are before and these are after. You can see how good this image is looking right now. So I'm just going to delete this my visual aid because I don't need it anymore. So next thing I'm going to do right now, I'm going to run my focus separation action, and I'll just come to my Retouching Academy and click on focus separation via Gaussian blur. And if you don't have this Retouching Academy, you can use any focus separation action you have. So for this image, because this image is looking sharp and it's a headshot, I'm going to be using a higher blur radius of 20 to retouch this image. So if you want to learn how to get the right focus separation blur radius, I have a video for that. I'll be leaving a link to that video in the description below as well. So once I click on 20 blur radius, I'll click on OK. And what I'm going to do right now, I'm just still going to remove a little bit of blemishes from the skin because I'm seeing some blemishes on the forehead. So to remove your blemishes, just come to your high texture, because the textures on this image right now are inside the high frequency, while all the colors are inside the low frequency tones. So that's what we just did. We just separated the textures and the colors in a separate layer. So if you want to work on the texture, make sure you are working on your high frequency, and if you want to work on the colors, make sure you are working on your low frequency. So because I want to remove the textures, I'll just make sure my high frequency layer is selected and click on my close stamp tool. So once I click on my close stamp tool, make sure your mood is on normal, your opacity is on 100, your flow is on 100, align is checked, and your sample is on current layer. And just sample from a close by area by clicking on alternate on your keyboard and just paint. Alternate and paint like that. Alternate to sample and paint like that. So what I want to do next, I want to use my mixer brush tool to make the image look a little bit smoother. And to use a mixer brush tool, all you have to do is come to your corrective tools if you are using the Retouching Academy focus separation. But if you are not using this Retouching Academy focus separation, make sure you are your low frequency, because that consists of the colors. So once you are your low frequency or your corrective tones, I'll just pick my mixer brush tool and just click on mixer brush right here. And for here, I'm using a soft one brush, and I'm using a clean brush. And this part right here is checked. So if yours is not checked, make sure this one right here is checked. And I'm on custom, and my weight is on 10, my load is on 30, my mix is on 20, my flow is on 30, and this place right here is set to 10. And sample all layer is checked. The reason why sample all layer is checked is because I'm working on an empty layer. That's why it's checked. But if I'm working on only the low frequency like this, I won't sample all layers. So I'm just going to turn off this sample all layer and just start painting. And just start painting on the image like this. So these are before and these are after. These are before and these are after. But since I'm going to be working on my corrective tone, which is an empty layer, I'll make sure my sample all layer is checked. So once my sample all layer is checked, I'll just turn off my high texture copy. I'll turn it off, and it's going to remain only the colors. So what I'm seeing right here on the screen is just the colors and no textures. I'm going to do right now, I'm just going to brush the image, and I'm going to brush the highlights separately, and I'm just going to brush the shadow separately. Please, this is very important. Do not brush your highlights and your shadows together. Make sure you are brushing your highlights separately, and make sure you are brushing your shadows separately. And make sure you are brushing according to the shape of the modern skin, according to the texture, like the parts the texture are going to. So just brush like that so that you can get a good image. Remember, brush your highlights separately, brush your shadow separately. Increase and decrease your brush size according to the place you want to brush. So if I want to brush this place right here, I can't just decrease my brush size and be brushing just like this. It's not going to make the image look good. Instead, I'm just going to increase my brush size and just paint like that to fit the place which I'm working on. So please brush your shadow separately, brush your highlight separately, and brush your transition together a little bit to make the image look good. So let me quickly show you what I just did right here. So this is our before and this is after. These are before and these are after. You can see I still have my highlights and I still have my shadows, and the image is looking smooth. So these are before and these are after. So please and please make sure to brush your highlights separately and make sure to brush your shadows separately. And remember to zoom in and zoom out depending on the place you are working on. You don't have to zoom all the way in like this to paint on your image. You don't have to zoom all the way in. It's not going to look good. So just zoom in a moderate position where you feel it's okay to work on the image. So please and please, when you are doing this, be careful about it so you won't brush your highlights to shadows. If you do that, it's just going to make your image look flat, and we don't want our image to look flat like cartoon. What we want is to retouch the image to make it look good, to make it look more better, to still keep the skin texture and to keep the shape of the skin, to just make the to just enhance the image. So that's our aim. That's the aim of retouching, to make the image look better, not to change the image. So I've seen a lot of image online, people retouch it and the image is looking so plastic, and the people are not even looking like real people anymore. That's because they just brush anyhow. They just brush the shadows to the highlights and brush the highlights to the shadows. So let me quickly show you before after what we just did. So these are before and these are after. These are before and these are after. You can see just a subtle difference, but the image is looking much more better. So I'm just going to continue. Remember, we're not just brushing only the face, we are still going to brush the body as well. So I hope you guys are learning something for this video. Please let me know in the comment section if you are really learning anything from this video. I really appreciate that. So let's really see our before and after what we just did. So these are before and these are after. You can see how good this image looks already. This is the before and this is the after. Just a subtle difference. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm just going to run portraiture for this image, and this part right here is optional. You can choose to run portraiture, you can choose to ignore portraiture. But if you have it, you can use it, or you can decide not to use it. But I have it and I'm going to use it. So to use my portraiture, I'm just going to merge my corrective tone and my low frequency color tones together. And to do that, once my corrective tool is selected, I just hold Control and click on my low frequency, click on Control E, and it's going to merge them. And I come to my filter, I come to my image unique, and I come to portraiture. And I'm just going to click on the skin and just going to click on OK. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm just going to apply a little bit of smoothness to the skin with portraiture. Just a subtle difference. You're not going to, you are not even going to notice the difference. So this is the before, this is the after. You can see just a subtle difference. It's as if I did not even do anything on the image. So this is the before and this is the after. This is the before and this is the after. So that's all for our frequency separation. So this is our before and this is the after. So let's see where we started from. This is where we started from when we brought this image to Photoshop, and this is where we are right now. You can see the image is looking better. So next thing I'm going to do right now, I'm just going to whiten the eyes and the teeth a little bit. So I already have an action for that. So I'll just come to my action and click on my eyes and teeth. And I'm just going to zoom in into the eyes, pick my normal brush tool, bring my opacity back to 100, and just paint with my white brush like this on the white part of the eyes. And make sure you are careful when doing this. You don't want to brush into the black parts. And I'll come to this other eyes, I'll do the same thing. And also I'll come to the teeth, I'll just paint on the teeth as well. Like this. And next I'm going to do right now, I'll just come to my blur, I'll come to my filter, I'll come to my blur, I'll come to Gaussian blur. I'll just blur it with a radius of about 2 and click on OK, and just reduce the opacity because I want this image to look as natural as possible. That's how I like my image. So these are before and these are after. So after that, the next I'm going to do right now, I'm just going to even out the skin tone. So to do that, all you have to do is come to your gradient map right here, or come to your adjustment layer down here and click on gradient map. So once you click on your gradient map, next thing you have to do is just come to your mode right here. So you come to your blend mode option and just change it to color. So once you change it to color, you come to your layer mask and just invert your layer mask by clicking on Ctrl I to invert your layer mask to bring back the original color. And after that, you come to your gradient again. So once you click on your gradient, just click on use gradient right here, and this gradient editor is going to show. Just double click on this center right here to add a midtone to your image. So right here we have the highlights, and right here we have the midtones, and this dark part we have the shadows right here. So to match the skin tone, just come to your highlight right here, click on this white place right here, click on this color down here, and just click on any highlights you want on your image. So I'm going to click on the forehead right here. So once I click on the forehead, I'm going to have this color right here, and I'll just take it up a little bit to make it a little bit brighter, and I'll click on OK, and I'll come to my midtones right here. I'll click on it, I'll come to my color down here, and I'll pick on any midtones I want. So I'm just going to click on this place right here as the midtones, and I'll click on OK. So for my shadows, I'll click on my shadows, click on this color again, and pick on any shadows I want the red shadow to look like. So I'll just click on this shadow right here, and right here I have my shadows. I'll click on OK. So after that, I'm just going to click on OK and come to my layer mask. So once my layer mask is selected, I'll pick my normal brush tool, make sure my flow is set to 100, and make sure I'm using a white brush because this layer mask is set to black. So once I pick my white brush, I'm just going to paint on the image like this to make the skin tone look even. So I'm just going to paint on the image like this. So right now it's not really looking good like this, but don't worry, we are going to fix that. So just paint on any parts you can see skin on the image like that, so you can see what's happening to the image. So what I'm doing right now, we're just trying to even out the skin tone. So guys, this video is going to be longer compared to my other videos because this is an in-depth high-end skill retouching. So just take your time to watch this video to the end because you're going to learn a lot, like a lot. So after that, I'm just going to remove it from the part which are not supposed to be there by switching to my black brush to remove, blacks hide, and white reveals. So if you want to reveal a particular place, just use a white brush, and if you want to hide the particular place, use a black brush, like that. So let's quickly see our before and after. This is our before. Let me zoom in so you can see. These are before and these are after. These are before and these are after. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm just going to reduce the opacity to 20%, like that. Now we are okay. So these are before and these are after. You can see the skin tone are even right now. This is the before, this is the after. So next I'm going to do right now, I'm going to be color grading this image. So color grading is optional, and what I'm looking to get for this image is that dark melanin skin tone. So I'm just going to show you how to get it. So the first thing I'm going to do right now, I'm just going to add contrast to this image. So I come to my levels adjusted layer and just add contrast to this image. Come to my levels, push my shadows inside, hold alternate and just push it inside a little bit. So I think 5 is okay. I'll come to my highlight, hold alternate and just push my highlight inside a little bit, like this. So I feel it's okay like this. So these are before and these are after. So after using levels to add a little bit of contrast to this image, I'm just going to make the skin tone a little bit rich. So to add a rich skin tone to your image, all you have to do is come back to your adjustment layer, create a gradient map, click on it and come to basic and click on this first one right here, which is foreground to background, and click on OK. So right now what we're going to do, changes your methods to classic. So once you change your method to classic, you come to your blend mode option and just change it to multiply. Click on OK and reduce your opacity to 40 or below, whichever works for you. So I think this one is okay. So these are before and these are after. These are before and these are after. You can see I've added that rich skin tone to this image. So the next thing I'm going to do right now, I'm just going to add a little bit of brightness to this image. So I come to my adjustment layer again, click on my curves adjustment layer, click on preset, click on this default and click on lighter RGB. So these are before and these are after. So next thing I'm going to do right now, I'll just come to my hue and saturation, click on my hue and saturation. Since I'm going for that dark melanin feel, I'll just come to my reds, reduce the saturation of the reds a little bit, like this. And I'll come to my magenta and reduce the saturation of the magenta to a little bit, like this. So these are before and these are after. You can see we are close to that dark melanin skin tone. So next thing I'm going to do right now, I'll come to my adjustment layer again, come to my color balance, and for my shadows, I'll just add a little bit of blues to the shadows, just a little bit. I think +1 is okay, and add a little bit of cyans again to my shadows. I think 3% of cyan is okay, and come to my midtones and just add a little bit of cyans to my midtones, like this, and add a little bit of magentas to my midtones, like this. So these are before and these are after. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'll come to my adjustment layer again, click on my selective color, I'll come to my reds, I'll just take a little bit of blacks away from the reds, and add a little bit of yellows to the reds. For the magentas, I'm just going to add a little bit of magentas to the reds as well, or I'm just going to remove magentas from the reds a little bit and just add cyans to these reds a little bit. Okay, I think I'm getting the skin to which I want. So these are before and these are after. These are before and these are after. But I feel it's too much, so I'm just going to reduce the opacity a little bit. Okay, and I'll just come to my selective color again, and I'll come to my yellows. I'll just add yellows to the yellows and just add blacks to the yellows because I want the backgrounds to be rich. So that's what I'm doing right now. So these are before and these are after for the yellows. The next thing I'm going to do right now, I'll just come to my vibrance and add a little bit of vibrance to this image to make it look good. So let me just quickly group everything we just did for the color grading and see our before and after. So these are before and these are after. These are before and these are after. So that's how I color graded this image to get that dark melanin skin tone. So that's all for the color grading, and you can decide to reduce the opacity if you want to. Just reduce the opacity a little bit if you want to, but I'm just going to leave this one in 100 because I like it like this. So next I'm going to do right now, I'm going to show you how to save your image to get that sharp image when you upload it on Facebook. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to resize this image by clicking on Ctrl Alternate I to show this image size, or you can come to your image and click on image size, and I'm just going to be using 9. I'm just going to change my width to 9 and my height will automatically change for me. So I typically resize my image like this. I just change the width to 9 and click on OK, and it's going to resize for me. So if I want to save this image to get a sharp image, I'm just going to come to my file, come to my export, and click to my save for web, because I'm uploading this thing to websites, Facebook, Instagram, and other social media network. So I'm going to click on save for web legacy. So once I click on save for web legacy, it's going to show me this option right here. So make sure yours is set to JPEG right here, and you can use quality of 80 or 75, and make sure your optimize is checked, and make sure your enable color profile is checked, and make sure your convert to sRGB is checked. So once you check all that, just click on save and click on any folder you want to save your image to, and you are done. So guys, that's how you can retouch beauty headshot like this from start to finish, and that's how you can save your image to get that sharp looking image in Photoshop. So guys, if you really learned anything from this video, let me know in the comment section, and also give this video a like so that more people can see this video and learn from this video as well. I'll see you guys in my next video. Stay creative.